Well, actually, Manodarpan has actually, it has been inspired by Natya Shastra. And as far as change of style, I don't know, so many factors came while I was studying. But the purpose of, Manodarpan was not to actually expose or people to Natya Shastra. I think the main purpose was to explore various shades of emotions, human feelings. And although our medium is classical dance, we are not actually usually in these kind of Ashtanaika or Navarasa. We are always getting into mythology, taking mythological stories. But this time it is a departure for me also, because I'm taking very simple human stories which we can relate to. There is no kind of connection with myths or mythologies, which are our main kind of a backbone of our concept plan. So that way it is a departure, but I feel that it will, all these stories, this is made up of 8 stories. All these stories are, very, very simple, which we can relate to, which happens to all of us. Shringar is not actually Shringar. It has to have the 5 steps, the journey. You know that it starts with Shantarati, then we are quiet and listening to each other, actually opening up yourself, and then it comes to strangely Vatsalyarati, that you feel very protective about the person. And while you are actually, uh, you know, going through these steps, the actual Shringar, which is called Madhura Rati, comes.
That's very beautifully put. I want to understand how, despite being so seasoned, with every performer
Different person. That number one. And number two is Manodarpan can actually change people, those who are into it, because they, you see, you just get to analyze your feelings. Like there could be only 5 kinds of anger, 4 kinds of fear, and how you are reacting to each fear. So you start analyzing yourself, and the audience also starts doing the same thing. That's what I saw. Oh, this is the way. This is the way my body works. Body language shows when I'm angry or trying to hide it. All those intricacies of, body and soul. So it was, for a lot of audience, it was something very
it's a
well.
yeah,
That's one.
because
That
sometimes it can throw off the audience, some audiences, and some enjoy the merging.
no, it's a tricky part because here you see we are actually merging Angik, Abhinay, and what is mostly we do, and Vachik, which was actually we are now reconciled to the idea of it will come from some singer or through some track, and kind of it will be showered on us, kind of. We are not part of that, but that was not the case in our traditional way of doing. We were all actors, we were all dancers, we were all singers, we were basically narrators. Hmm. Telling a story. We are great storytellers. Indians are great storytellers, and that tradition has to come out. So, but well, it's one thing to talk about this, but we have been going through our traditional kind of presentation in classical dance. Now, how to merge it well so that it gels. So that has been a process. And after the first program, when I saw the video, I made some changes. Then for Mumbai audience, again, and every time I make a change, I feel, okay, that's it. This looks good. I think it looks nice. It looks proper. But God knows what will happen after the Mumbai show. But I would like my audience in Mumbai, they are so beautiful. I want them to see my effort to achieve, trying to reach out. That's more important than, I would say, success.
Yeah, there is so much history in this dance form, and using that history and not wanting to make it, sound as though, look as though you're teaching it to somebody is a very big challenge, and that's so. And you stayed away from that, so natural, and it's fantastic. Because as far as Natya Shastra is concerned, it can be. I mean, it's a text at the end of the day. There are so many ways to interpret it.
Performance text.
A performance text, yes.
People talk, oh, Natya Shastra, theory. There's nothing theory in it. Everything has to be practiced. The only thing is, a grammar book is not Sahitya. In the morning, I used to go around. So it became my home before it became a performance space for me. So you know what it means. So when I eventually went to perform there as an established artist, it was very comfortable and nice. But one thing is there, it's not just the bricks which make the space, it's the people there. So that's very I would say, each and every of
Sharmila Biswas doing what she loves doing. And we welcome you again, ma'am, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
The very first time on the show, Ragini Kushwaha. She's creative learning producer for Connections India. Hi, Ragini. In the scenes. So sophomore year, Anahita, what really is Connections India?
So Connections India is a youth theatre festival. It's for the ages of 13 to 18, which I do believe is a rather ignored age group. It really, we've developed this in association with the National Theatres Connections, which is a youth theatre festival that they have been doing it for the last 10 years. And what it is that they have award-winning playwrights who write plays specifically keeping this age group in mind. So it's about their issues, their problems, their lingo, the way they see the world, their idealism. It's just quite remarkable. So these scripts, they've got this huge library of scripts. What we do is we give these scripts to the schools here. The schools go, they direct them, we give them a professional director, and then we bring that to the NCPA and we have a festival done in January.
Okay, just give me a count. How much?
And the format is such that we have a number of paid schools, that are the international schools in the IC.
From non-privileged backgrounds can actually share stage with private school children, because Anahita, you and I both know as parents, it's so important for our children.
It's also very important for privileged children to know that actually they are no different from others. And when it comes to the stage, everyone's equal.
About English plays in particular, and if so, then how are the children from the BMC schools and let's say Teach for India children, Akanksha children able to cope with that?
So the plays are in English. The plays are originally written in English because these are plays that come from the National Theatre to us. What we do allow is we allow schools that require translation or would opt for a translation to translate the plays. And in some cases, some of the schools choose to work in English because they feel that's an exposure that they would like their students to have. And in some cases, they've chosen to translate. So we do right now have a mix of English and Hindi plays going on at the festival. But the plays do originally come to us in English, and we allow the schools to choose the route that they would like.
So that's interesting. So you do have
of the school just to get everyone onto the same page, because there is a very specific to align with the writing and to feel that it is their story.
That's great. And if you could tell me about some of the scripts that we're going to see in January of this year, that'll be nice. If you could give us some kind of a teaser preview, Ragini.
So the scripts are, what I can tell you is the themes that they cover broadly,
Sure.
At least some of the themes that they cover. What's really lovely again about the plays is that the themes are so close to the hearts of young people and issues that they are facing. So there is a play that talks about climate change. and that the impact of climate change in the world today and how young people are trying to how young people perceive that. There is a play that talks about mobile phone addiction, which is so relevant in teenagers, particularly today, especially a generation that's just grown up with technology right from the get-go. There is a play that sort of has a really unique take on immigration and, just what that entire scenario is like. So there's some really the topics are really impactful and interesting for young people. It's things that they have a lot to say about and a lot that they would like to talk about. And I think what's really lovely about Connections and the plays that it brings to the forefront is that it gives teenagers a platform to speak about things that they are passionate about.
Rishi, I'm so bad at names.
Actually, I've got the names here in front of me. So I think we'll do it the other way around. I will take their names and maybe you could tell us a little bit about them. Like, for example, people like Asif, Danish, Gurleen, they've been around for a while. So the shows this year are directed by Danish Kumbata, Rachel Burchett, Shruti Sharma, Gurleen Judge, Padma Damodaran, Asif Ali Beg, Rasika Agashe, Akash Prabhakar, Amay Mehta, and Chakori Divedi, another well-known theatre personality. So, either of you can go first. Ragini, you want to start? Tell me about some of the directors and then Anahita can take over.
Sure. So I think we've had a really lovely mix this year in terms of people who also, a lot of directors who directed last year and were with Connections in its pioneering year, and some of them who've just joined this year for year two. I think it's also been really interesting to just see the difference in the journeys and, I think for us also our process has really kind of solidified over this year. We've also had some schools where we've had faculty coming in and teaching and being mentored by directors from Connections last year, for example. So that's also a really interesting way in which this program is shifting to really empower the schools to
It's about people who actually
Classical and Modern Dance, the Aditya Birla World Academy, and the NGO and BMC schools are represented by Teach for India, Saw them on stage, what you went through.
It was fantastic. It really, really was, because you saw a journey, and when we spoke to the children after, they were elated with what they had put up. They knew they had done something good and meaningful. And we actually were very interested to see stories or hear stories of kids who were terribly shy in the beginning, but who just absolutely blossomed on stage, Or there were also kids who had overcome all sorts of issues, that
Felt on the night of the performance and how they felt on the night of the
interacted with some parents from last year in the process. For us this year, we've heard. You're right. And for kids, especially that age, their schedules are so packed already that fitting in these 30-35 rehearsals that we insist on and the time that we ask for, it really does need a lot of support from the parents as well. So we've had a lot of parents coming in, and especially the private schools coming in and advocating for connections and bringing more people to sign into the process this year. So that's been really lovely to see, actually.
Yeah, Anahita, reactions from parents?
Yeah.
What we noticed last year, especially, some of the challenges faced by NGO schools was that, the kids have different lives, and they have to sometimes go home and help their mother at a shop, or they need
NCPAMumbai.com. NCPAMumbai.com is the site. Ragini, Anahita, thank you very much. And speak soon.
Thank you.
94.3 Radio 1.